Where Dreams Really Do Come True webinar, Part 5, Flowing Energy 2. Okay, so just a reminder, we are on step 3, it's part 5 of the webinar, but step 3 of the map, and it is flowing energy. Last time we got together, we talked about beliefs and how to stop flowing energy towards what we don't want by covering all the emotional flow stoppers. And thanks to those of you who sent us your feedback about the homework and the flow stoppers. A lot of you are doing really great work when it comes to being emotionally honest and realizing what energy it is that you flow that maybe isn't so comfortable knowing about. But you know what? It is huge in recognizing that, forgiving yourself for it, and then choosing to do something different that will, of course, give you a different reality. So flowing energy is something that we're doing all of the time. And again, we're trying to become conscious of how we flow and of flowing proactively. And that's where techniques come in. So the flowing energy part will always be a piece of the map that we'll go back to time and again when we're evaluating where we are with our creations. Because just as it's important to own who we are and to dream those dreams of the future, it is important to become conscious and proactive about flowing energy all day, every day. Today, we are going to cover how do techniques affect our reality? What are the critical components of a good technique? There's two kinds of techniques that we'll talk about, conscious versus altered state techniques. We'll cover how you can make your techniques super powerful and when you should do techniques as well as when you should not do techniques. Of course, this would not be complete without talking about letting go after the technique has been done. We'll talk about the homework for next session and, of course, your emailed and live questions. Okay, so how do techniques affect our world? Bashar is an extraterrestrial being from our future who is channeling backwards in time through Daryl Anka, Paul Anka's brother, and has some fascinating information about creating reality. He views techniques as permission slips. And they are, I guess, it's a unique way to view them. They give us permission to say, yes, we can have this reality. And I put this quote in here because I thought it was pretty cool and a good way to start today's program. If it's really that important to you to create the reality you say you prefer, you will do what it takes. You will do anything. You will be hungry to create a vibration of passion within you all the time. Which means that if you have any kind of permission slip or tool available to you, you will use it as often as you can. Bashar. Okay, so how do techniques affect our world? Well, you start where you're at, okay? Your current reality. I'm here, this is my world, I take responsibility for it all, I have created it all, and I want more. It's perfectly fine to have more. I've dealt with that belief. I believe it now, and I'm going to do a technique to change my status quo. And so in the technique, you feel emotion. Remember, emotion is the causative factor of all realities being birthed anywhere, everywhere, all the time. And you connect this emotion with this thing you desire. And then you have a new status quo, energetically, which will result without fail in a new world physically if you allow it. If you allow it. If you allow it. You can slip back into the old energy field, into the old state of being, and thus stop that new reality that you have started with the technique. And this is why the map goes further than the third step of flowing energy, and it takes you into helping sustain the energy that you have started flowing through this technique. So, you know, basically that's what techniques do. They shift you emotionally, which shifts your vibration, which shifts the feedback that you get in your world. So, easy peasy, right? Critical components in techniques. The intensity of a feeling or thought or mental image is, therefore, the important element in determining its subsequent physical materialization. Seth never was a simple wordsmith. His books were a bit challenging, I might say, but really informative and excellent if you can kind of wade through them. What he's saying here is that, you know, the intensity of the emotion equals the physical materialization. So the world, the reality you get back. So what are the critical components in the techniques that you will consider doing? A good technique is fun to do. Now, let me preface this with saying there really is no good or bad techniques, okay? There are only techniques that work for you or don't work for you. And there's lots of them out there. So don't get caught up in, oh, you know, what is this on the scale of, you know, goodness in a technique? No. You find techniques that work for you and your temperament and your energy and your personality. And then you can change them, shift them so that they work even better for you. That's how the map in what I do came about. I learned from many, many teachers throughout the decades of me studying this. And I've learned from many other realities in my meditative states and my past life explorations, etc. And what I came up with were some things that were part what I learned from others, but part what I put together because it seemed more fun, easier, more elegant, and it worked. So, you know, trust that the ones that feel the best to you are the ones that will be most powerful. A good technique connects you to the dream, okay? After you do this technique of any kind, hopefully you feel more hopeful and expectant than you have before you started the technique for sure, but maybe than you have ever. And knowing that the dream is closer and on its way to manifesting for you. And a good technique results in strong, powerful emotion. Okay? And part of this is a technique, folks, and part of it is just you. You need to take responsibility for feeling that emotion. You can't do a technique just because you want to, you know, say you did the technique. You have to really feel it. And if you don't really desire this thing that you want, you're not going to be able to bring up those feelings very well. That's why, you know, one of the things techniques do, as well as one of the things actions do, is to allow you a proving ground so that you can kind of try on these dreams and see, you know, did they really float my boat, or, you know, was I just thinking that it might? So try to, you know, stay aware as you play with these different techniques as to how much emotion you are pushing, and if not, why. We're going to talk about conscious versus altered state techniques, okay? So conscious technique is any technique you do with your eyes wide open, okay? You know, there are meditations actually that you do with your eyes open, walking meditations, for instance. But I would still, although they can slip over into altered states, especially for those who practice meditation a lot, you know, the distinction isn't that important. What is important is to recognize that conscious technique works. It's a great thing to do. It's a great proactive energy, and you're bringing it into your world here and now, so you're bringing that feeling state into the third dimension, which will ground it in this world. But also altered state techniques are important as well. Okay, altered state techniques can do a couple of things that are not done as easily in conscious techniques. And one is to listen where conscious techniques, you are projecting energy, you're projecting information, you're projecting this dream into your world. But with more internal techniques, altered state techniques, it's easier to hear your unseen friends. Okay? It's easier to communicate with other aspects of who you are. Again, you do get better at this once you really start doing these altered state techniques, and it is possible to communicate with your future self, say, or your child when you are in a conscious state with your eyes open, but it's still more effective if you can go into an altered state and allow your resonance to shift into this place where you're just more available for information coming your way. So I would say, you know, do a combination. Do both. I think both are important and both are effective. Okay, how do you make your techniques as powerful as possible? First, by realizing that the real power, again, is in you, not the technique. And the way you do it will matter. I pound beliefs and I pound about feeling the emotion. You know, you need to feel it. You need to be there with it. And the more you can feel it, and not in a frenetic way, not in a, oh, I've got to have this way, but in a real way. Techniques are powerful when you do them. Surprise. Yeah, you know, it comes down to doing the work. There's no shortcut. You must do the work. If you don't change something in your world, i.e. your energy, nothing in your world on the outside will change. And you can want it to, and you can hope it will, and you can wish it will, and you can read every book on the planet about it. But until you do the work, nothing's going to happen. So techniques are also most powerful when you honestly expect results. And, you know, I can understand, because I've been there myself, how easy it is to just do a technique and hope for the best, and do a technique and wish it'll happen. Do a technique and, you know, look around nervously, hoping I'll get a sign. But to honestly expect your reality to shift is another thing completely. And this is partially a learned thing, okay? It's something that will come easier and more natural as you move forward with this work. But very often, there's a reason why you don't honestly expect the results, okay? Even if you have been doing it for a long time. And if you're finding, I'm doing the motions, but I'm not really expecting anything to change, well, that's the first clue that says it's not going to change, okay? And there's a reason. There's a reason. I recently talked to a friend who told me about her friend who was really upset because she had programmed to get a certain job that she wanted. And she, you know, she did the dream board, she did techniques, I don't think she read the map, but she did whatever she knew to do because she wanted this job. And so she called my friend, you know, a week later after she had last complained to her and said, you know what, I realized over this past week that I really don't want that job. And now she had, you know, talked herself into it. She had determined that she thought she wanted it, and she did all this, you know, work towards it, and still realized when push came to shove, she didn't really want it. She withdrew her application and determined to discover what she really did want. That can be one reason that you're not honestly expecting results. Of course, beliefs, another reason, a big one. When should you do techniques? You could do them basically whenever you want, okay? There's no rule, written or otherwise, but we're going to come back to momentum again. In order to shift things, there needs to be a certain amount of this positive energy towards the new dream in order to start movement in the world. And at first, remember, the movement, like the stopped train, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of force, and it gets easier and easier and easier. But if you did a technique once a month and then forgot about it until the next month and then did another technique and then went back to your old thought patterns and your old emotions and just kind of winging it by the seat of your pants every day without any forethought as to what you wanted to put out there consciously, getting that momentum for anything other than a very easy dream is going to be tough. So, if you're not one who wakes up every day saying, oh my God, I can't wait to do my technique today, and it's more an issue of you feel you're doing too many rather than too full, then this doesn't apply to you. But for most of us, the days are so full that we have to schedule them. And scheduling them is not a bad idea. You don't have to be, crazy about making sure you follow the schedule. There's no, magic number of days, again. But the idea is to stay positively excited about this dream, to be watching for the signs, and to see your reality changing. And so there has to be some continuity there in order to get the momentum going enough so that you can really see things shift. You should do techniques when it feels good to do a technique. Okay, so you see woman on the left is like not so excited right now about her reality and it coming to her, and maybe it is time for her to do a technique so she can get that feeling, that essence again, and that excitement back about what it is she wants. The woman on the right, okay, her resonance is already lifted. She probably saw a sign in her reality that made her say, Yahoo, this is working. I am creating my dream. Oh my God, this is so cool. It's real and I'm doing it and I can't wait to do another technique. So when it feels good, when it uplifts you, when it raises your resonance, it's a good time to do techniques. And do techniques when you're seeing things happen in your world. You're seeing positive results and you want more and more and more. And ideally, dream bigger dreams, dream broader dreams, dream more expansive dreams at that time. When shouldn't you do techniques? Okay? I love this quote from Saint-Exupéry. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people together to collect wood and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. I want you to long for the endless immensity of your lives, of the lives that you can't wait to live, of the lives that have you excited to get up every day and disturbed because you have to go to sleep every night, because you have to leave this wonderful dream come true. And that's the kind of energy that you want to pull you towards doing more technique. So you shouldn't do them when you're doing them for the wrong reasons, okay? This good little girl has a halo above her head because she wants to be a good student of metaphysics and conscious creation, and she's going to do the techniques to show that she can do the techniques when she's supposed to do the techniques. Not a good reason. Another not a good reason is if you're afraid not to do the techniques. If you're afraid that if you stop a day, something bad will happen and momentum will stop. It doesn't happen that way. It does happen that way. If you have that fear, you're going to create it happening that way. So check that belief. If you feel you should do them, if it's not fun, you should not do techniques. You should not do techniques if you are in some kind of chaos or turmoil emotionally, okay? You should be starting your techniques from a pretty calm place, ideally a high resonance vibration. One of the things that I do suggest people do is keep a success journal. and write about all of the different manifestations that you have made happen in your life, either consciously or unconsciously. It doesn't matter. You made them happen. Everything good that's happened, ideally consciously, because you're trying to prove to yourself how powerful you can be. But all of your creations are a result of your power, the bad and the good ones. So if you can, raise your vibration just before you do a technique, even better. But if you have some kind of, just had an argument with your mate, perhaps, or you just had some really bad news, or you're angry at something somebody did, give yourself time to release those emotions before you try to do a technique. It's not going to do you any good at all if you do the technique when you're feeling so upset. So go write a hate letter, go, scream at them in visualization, do whatever you need to do to stop feeling bad, and then come back and do the technique. And you shouldn't do techniques when they're not working, okay? There's always a reason why. Instead of doing a technique, if you know it's not working, say you've done the same technique for 30 days about something you want, and you haven't seen one positive sign. Go figure out why. There is a reason. What are your thoughts during those days? What are your feelings during those days? Not when you're doing the technique, but the rest of the entire day. What is this desire? Do you really, really want it? What's the motivation for it? And what are your beliefs that say you can't have it? There's always a reason. Learning to let go. Letting go is one of the most important parts of manifestation. What is letting go? It is absolute trust that you've done what you did, the technique, the intentions, and now it's the universe's job. And you trust that you are powerful enough to make this happen, and that the universe always, always, always delivers. Absolute 100% certainty. Now, I know you don't have 100% certainty today. It is an ideal, okay? Like absolute 100% unconditional love is an ideal. An ideal is something that you will never in your lifetime reach, but you will be made better for having tried to reach it, okay? So trusting that you are absolutely powerful and the universe always delivers without fail is a piece of what is letting go. Another piece is being patient. It's kind of a catch-22, You want something and you need to be patient with not having it in order to get it. And when you can start, I don't know, I kind of think of it as tricking my mind into remembering that now is all there is anyway. And the only thing that really matters is what I project right this minute. As Edgar Cayce said, the power is in the present moment. Being patient, being absolutely, perfectly fine in the here and now is part of what is letting go. And letting go is letting the universe decide what the form is to be. I know this is really hard for a lot of you. I see it in intentions. I see it in what people write about and say. A lot of people have this idea of what is going to bring in their wealth, usually, or great work, or boyfriend, or husband, or wife, or whatever. And the fact is, you will be surprised at how many of your manifestations actually come to be. And oftentimes it's a circuitous route that leaves you far better off than had it been a straight line. So the more you can be expansive and open to allowing the universe to decide the form, the better. And letting go is keeping your ego out of it, okay? Look at your motivation for wanting things and what you want and why. You know, when I was transitioning out of my marketing company that, as you know, took off in the first few years and grew outrageously fast. And I've told you again and again, it was never my intention for it to do that. It was my intention to have enough money somehow, even if that wasn't the way, and to have fun. And I did, up until the point that I decided that it was time to start thinking about letting it go. And in my mind, I kept thinking I had to keep working at it until it was valued at such a place that it would be really, really easy to find a buyer for it. I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to, work on this technology and it'll be worth 10 times, 100 times what it's worth now once the technology is done. And of course the technology didn't get done and cost an arm and a leg and was fraught with issues and problems and time delays and wasn't fun hardly at all. And what was happening? My ego was getting involved. My ego was saying, okay, you want to transition into ITT? This is how you, or out of ITT, this is how you must do it. You must leave your marketing company on top. And the fact was, which I finally realized, I just needed to leave it. And I sold it not at a great profit, but I had a great deal of obligation. And I was happy to sell it just to get rid of the obligation. A little bit more, but not much. And it took me really understanding that my ego was the one that was invested in how much this company sold for. And it wasn't for my higher good to create that. The only reason I was wanting to create it was that I would feel better about myself. I didn't need the money. I needed the time and the space to write the map. And when I finally let that in and let that be okay, the company sold within 2 months. And I moved on, and the rest is the map. I'm going to teach you a technique on learning to let go, okay? I would like you to, not right now, but this is actually written down and you can download it. It will be your homework for next time. Think about one of your immediate intentions that you want to apply this technique to. And then think about the most likely way it will come into your life. And everybody has this scenario, they know, well, some people it's, I'm going to win the lottery. And other people it's like, well, when I, sell this great book that I'm thinking of writing. When I get the proposal out there, it'll sell so fast and I'll have this advance. And other people think, I'll join this online dating thing when I lose 20 pounds. Whatever it is, think about the most likely way. And then write 10 or more other ways it could come into your life. And here's the key. Stretch your possibilities. Be outrageous. Be outlandish. This is an exercise of unreality because the universe, well, it's not real, okay? It's an illusion. And it will come to you in ways you cannot even imagine it will come to you. So this is an exercise to practice that, to practice being open to 10, hundreds, thousands of ways and not being so pigeonholed about expecting it to come in just one certain way, okay? So here's an example, just for example. my immediate intention. Okay, this is kind of close to one of my intentions. The map on the New York Times bestseller list. The most likely way this will arrive in my mind is through people getting to know and love the book over the years, okay? And that's happening, and I expect it to continue to happen. Or how else could it come by? And I just played this game. It's a game, folks. It's a game meant to expand possibility. I could create an agent who auctions the book to a top publishing house who markets the heck out of it. Okay, so this I actually had thought of as a possibility. Then I thought, whoops, be bigger. And I thought, well, Oprah reads the book and she loves it and does everything in her power to make it skyrocket. And this is also, in my mind, a possibility. And the next one, Tyler Perry reads the book I gave him and tells Oprah, who sees, see number 2, and loves it, does everything in her power to make it skyrocket. Actually, this has a lot of feet in very strong possibility in my world. Tyler Perry's float plane pilot is friends with my husband, and he sometimes borrows our plane when Tyler has big events on his private island, and sometimes Oprah goes to those big events. So my husband told him last time he wanted it, only if you give this book to Oprah. And he said, sure, I will. And he said, well, you should give me one for Tyler too. So we gave them each a book, and it ended up that he told my husband that, you know, actually the book to Oprah went to her offices, which, you know, who knows what that is. But that's why I have number 3 here. The Tyler Perry reads it and says, hey, Oprah, that book, yeah, you should read it. So not too outlandish, not too outrageous. Maybe Louise Hay sees my face on the cover of Awareness Magazine in LA, which it is right now for this fall issue. And she just gets this hit that she should read it. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more out there. My neighbor gets me on the Today Show. Again, a little seed of possibility. I have a neighbor here in Boulder who has some connections to talk shows, and he told me he would get me on one for some wine. And I actually took down the kind of wine, Petrus, I think it is, that he likes. And so we'll see. My other neighbor in the Bahamas, who's been on Oprah's show several times and seems to be very friendly, tells Oprah. You know, Oprah's in my dreams a lot these days, and rightfully so, I guess. Or maybe Deepak Chopra is given the map for his birthday, and he loves it and does everything in his power to help. Or maybe the Queen of England reads the map when someone leaves it at the palace, and she champions me and it. Or maybe the President of the United States reads the map and turns the country around, thanks me for the help publicly. Oh, okay, we're getting out there now. The ETs land and hand out copies of the map to every adult they can find, okay? I know you guys are laughing, but the point of this assignment is to stretch the possibilities, okay? Stretch the possibilities. In my mind, well, you know, except for the ET, these are all pretty possible. And I do think the ETs are behind the book too, but I doubt that they're going to hand them out from their spaceships. Anyway, I would like you to try this on your own for the next session. Choose one of the intentions that you have chosen to work on for this webinar and do the letting go technique. Again, the technique itself will be downloadable on the map page that Gwen has sent you, that all of the webinars are on, so you can have the technique and go ahead and do it. And you also got, as part of this webinar, the 1-minute manifester recorded audio technique. I'd like you to do that 2 times a day, okay? I don't want to hear from anybody that I don't have 2 minutes. Take it with you into the bathroom if you want, but you must at least try. Come on, it's your life, folks. Okay, so those are your assignments. In the 1-minute manifester, you know, do that for the rest of the webinar, please. So we are going to now get on to our email questions. Got some good ones. One question. Can I miss one day of saying my new beliefs or intentions and add that day at the end of the 90 days? Absolutely. Yeah. You know, again, we're trying to establish continuity and build momentum. So, you know, that's the issue with everything that we're doing with the map. So, you know, if you skip some, you know, don't worry about it, but do get back to it, because skipping 1 or 2 isn't the same as 1 or 2 years, and then you would have to start all over. Another asks, I understand we're meant to keep our intentions somewhat open, but I'm at a point in my work where I can go in a few different directions and need specific guidance from my higher self regarding which specific path is best for me now. How do I write this as an intention without limiting myself? Okay, without knowing anything else whatsoever about this person's particulars, here's my suggestion. I intend to become crystal clear as to which direction to take regarding my career. I intend that the choice I do make results in me feeling certain I made the right choice. Happy, expansive, excited, confident, prosperous, creative, and trusting. I ask my unseen friends to participate in this decision, helping me to create these intentions, or better. So, hope that helped. If you have more details and you'd like some more help, just let Gwen know. Another question. You advise to say or read your intentions with feeling, but when I do that, it does not feel natural. It feels phony. You can understand that. I've been there myself. Try and determine why it feels phony, okay? There's always a reason. Are you just not skilled at this yet? You know, it does take some practice to feel how we're going to feel when we get the dream, to feel those emotions of excitement and joy and whatever it is, prosperity, success, creativity, triumph, celebration, all those energies, all those feelings. And it does take a while to get good at it. So it might be that. Try to consider, have you set your dreams too high for this moment? If they're not believable, they'll have a really hard time even manifesting close to them, okay? So you might want to have a bridge dream where, you know, eventually I want that, but I'm going to start with this. You know, the homeless guy who's living in his sister's basement, I think I put this in the book, to think about owning, you know, $1 million house and a yacht is probably too big of a jump. He needs to do bridge dreams. So let's first dream, I have my own place and it feels great and I love it and I'm secure financially and I'm feeling wonderful because it's almost paid off, okay? And then dream the bigger dream. So maybe it feels phony because these dreams are out of your reach at the moment. Or do you simply not believe them to be possible, or you able to create them? And you might do the belief testing technique for this, because there's a reason why it feels phony. And I would encourage you to get to the bottom of it, because again, it's the feeling that will create it. And so you want to feel genuine. And yes, it's kind of a, you know, you're not really there yet. So I'm asking you to be there emotionally before you get there. That's the whole point of conscious creation. So it's really critical that you learn to do this with feeling good and not phony. Okay? Hope that helped. Here's another question. And this questioner says, I struggle with getting to the feeling of the essence that Bonnie describes. What comes up for me is that with a series of life disappointments extending through several years, I think I have actually forgotten how to maintain a level of joy. I know that sounds crazy, but I do remember when I could feel happy and exhilarated, yet it seems to be gone. Life isn't awful or bad. I've just lost that love and feeling. I hear that song in my head too. How does one resurrect and maintain joy? Whoops. Uh-oh. That's what I wanted to do. Oops, going too far. All right. Sorry about that, folks. First thing I would suggest for this person is to heal those disappointments you talked about. You won't be able to feel the joy if you're still feeling the pain of the past. And it sounds like that's exactly what's happening. And that past comes with scars. It comes with scars that say you're not powerful. It comes with scars that say you're a failure. You get disappointed. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you don't deserve. I'm not sure of all the scars, but it comes with scars. And so the first thing to do is heal those past yous. I would first test for the foundational belief that I can heal my past selves and therefore change my life. Remember, foundational beliefs are beliefs about beliefs. So if you don't feel it's possible, it would leave you in kind of this state of in-between where you want to move forward but can't. You would figure, what's the use? And you would just kind of spin your wheels. So test for that first and change it if you need to. And then go back to each one of these selves who had those disappointments and allow them to feel all of the pain that they possibly can, okay? Just, go into a meditation or visualization. Be in front of the house that they lived in. Go into that house. Bring your higher self with you. She or he can be visible or not visible. It doesn't really matter. And let them cry. Let them scream. Let them pound things. Let them blow up their house. Let them do whatever they need to do to feel the pain that they felt. Okay? They probably couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't have felt it then, they thought, and didn't. So allow them to feel it. And, really let it be real. Listen to them. And if you want, you can move into their body and feel it with them. Of course you will be just watching them feel it, but sometimes it's more real when you can just move into them and you're the one screaming, you're the one blowing things up, you're the one, I remember when I would do this technique and I would scream so loud in this meditation that every mountain in the entire Rocky Mountain region would crumble and fall. Every mountain fell. That's how powerful the scream was. That's how deep the pain was. And it takes practice to allow yourself to feel that deeply. But use visuals, blow up the planet if you want. This is not going to cause any harm. It's not going to cause any pain to anyone. You're doing it for the reason of releasing your emotions. Really important to let them feel it. And then offer these younger yous other realities. Give them a life without disappointments, okay? The love never left. You went on to get married and live happily ever after. Whatever happens with, if you wanted children, if you wanted, this career opportunity to work out, it did and expanded beyond your wildest dreams. Every disappointment shifted into the most phenomenal success ever. And sit and watch this you who, instead of being disappointed, went on to live their dreams in the most glorious technicolor reality imaginable, and watch them literally walk off into the sunset, happy, glowing, satisfied, totally at peace. Which means, guess what? You get to be at peace about it too. That is the process to heal them. Then, I thought it was interesting that you used the words resurrect your joy, because I think it's very accurate. Your joy died with these disappointments. Not really died, but it's kind of lying there looking lifeless. So resurrect your joy. And, you know, it doesn't come naturally, folks. We have to learn to be these creators consciously. We haven't been taught to do this. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some remembering. It's going to take some reminding. It's going to take some real intention and commitment to make this work. But listen, it's going to feel good along the way, and your world's going to change. So why not, right? Why not? Intend to feel joy every morning. Start there. Imagine in that morning, you're taking your shower, right? Getting coffee, whatever you do. Imagine later in the day getting into bed that night and reflecting on the day and smiling to yourself because you felt joy that day. A little or a lot, you choose it. Ask your unseen friends for help in breathing life and light back into your joy. And practice joy. Practice choosing another thought, okay? You know, again, we have emotions as a result of thoughts. That's why they're connected. That's why, you know, people talk about change your thoughts, change your life. It is both, because they are totally, absolutely 100% connected. So as you choose another thought, it can be easier to feel more joy, okay? So you can read the 10 reasons to feel joy. What I'd like you to do is to just close your eyes right now, where you're at, and just listen for a minute. Because these are the 10 reasons to feel joy. And I want you to know that, you know, joy doesn't come knocking at your door. Sometimes you have to go looking for it and persuade it to come home with you. These thoughts you can think to gently invite joy to come live with you again. 1, I sometimes forget to look at the bigger picture. Bottom line is, I am deeply, profoundly, and unconditionally loved. I will take a moment right now to let that in. 2, I must be very, very brave to have taken on the challenges I've taken on this lifetime. It would have been an easier path to stay with the non-physicals and support Earth from afar. But I chose to be ground crew for a good reason. I knew I could do it and triumph. 3, God and Goddess know me. Personally, they know me, and they are proud of the work I am doing here. They want me to feel joy, and they will help me get there. 4, I live in a universe where I can literally create my reality. And this I know, I will create my dreams coming true. I feel profoundly grateful I have chosen this planet. 5, I have unlimited help, seen and unseen, to guide me on my path. Everything I could possibly need to triumph is available to me. 6, there is nothing on this planet that cannot be healed. Nothing. 7, right here and right now, here in this room, all is perfect. I don't look to the past. I don't look to the future. I focus my attention on this very moment, and all is well. 8. Our planet has more beauty than any place I could possibly imagine. I draw from the memories of beautiful places I have seen in my lifetime, and I give thanks. 9. My higher self, my soul, and I planned this lifetime before my birth. We knew what we were doing, and I have all the help in the world to live the life I was born to live. And 10. I know the joy stealer in my life is my beliefs. And I now give myself permission to feel joy even though I haven't changed them all yet. Even though I'm not perfect, even though I have healing to do. I recognize this moment is a moment I will never get back. And I can choose joy. And I do choose joy. Open your eyes. 10 little thoughts that may be able to help. Again, these will be downloadable on your webinar page, and you can use them if you like. Okay, here's a case study. Okay, I wanted to include this because it's very typical of what will happen when you start writing out what's going on and how you feel and where your life is at. Okay. Person says, I believe this is my core belief. I do not deserve to be happy, pampered, taken care of, gifted, abundant, loved, beautiful, cherished, peaceful, healthy, and free. This belief comes from a severe lack of faith that God wants me. I feel not good enough, not deserving enough, not attractive enough, not intelligent enough, and a constant demand to be more and more and more and even more than I am. I deny myself and martyr and victimize myself so that others can have and be all that I wish I could be. It's not fair to have more than others. I must give everything to help them. I become sad, resentful, angry, and create realities that always result in dependency, failure, lack of confidence, fear, and stagnation. I hide by doing menial tasks, pretending to like them. I'm afraid to say no to others at great personal cost to myself, and I see others as less than, and I must save them. Then I have no time to learn and work so that I might be successful. Instead of working, I busy myself with cleaning the house and cooking for those who are perfectly capable of doing so for themselves. I have manifested a situation which has imprisoned me in a world of sadness and dependency. I have created illness all around me so that all have a dependency and need me and will not leave. Okay, how to work with it. Step 1. Do you have any foundational beliefs to change? Again, foundational beliefs are beliefs about beliefs. Beliefs about your reality. If you feel nothing ever works for you, you're not going to let anything work for you. If you feel this is all a load of crap, and I'm not talking consciously, folks. I know you all believe these things consciously. I'm talking unconsciously. So do the test that I taught you last week and find out if you have any foundational beliefs to change that say you can't make this change and change them. Step 2, determine what is your core belief. Is it I do not deserve? Is it I'm not good enough? Or is it something else? These are the two that you mentioned. But the bottom line is only one is your core belief. Okay? There's one that's below, deeper than any other belief. And the way to tell this, beyond testing, of course, is to ask yourself, Why do I not deserve? And the answer may be, why I don't deserve because I'm not good enough. Why am I not good enough? Well, because I'm just not good enough would be the answer. If not good enough is your core belief, there would be no why underneath it. It would just be because I don't deserve or because I'm not good enough. So get to the bottom of which one is your core belief, either by testing or asking these questions. Okay? Change it. The core beliefs are the toughest to change. It requires all that writing beforehand about what it's doing to your life and about what will happen afterwards, but it's worth it. This belief will change your life like no other belief. It will unlock the shackles and allow you to move forward. Take the time that it takes. Be emotionally honest and change this belief. For me, it was not good enough. And I changed a lot of beliefs prior to changing not good enough. And I was kind of surprised that I still had a belief as core as not good enough, but I did. And someone pointed that out to me, and I changed it. And it wasn't like, the clouds opened and the sun shone and life changed forever. It was like suddenly there wasn't the struggle that there used to be. Suddenly I was more peaceful with myself and my reality and my world. Suddenly things got easier. So again, it's part of the puzzle, but a really important piece. It's like the middle of the puzzle, okay? You still have to build the rest of the puzzle. You still have to, dream your dreams and flow energy towards it and clear out other beliefs, but it's the center of the puzzle. So figure that out. Change it. Do the work it takes. It's worth it. Step 3, what other beliefs are at play here? And you've got some other ones there. It's unfair to have more than others. Good people do not want more than others. Somebody will die, worsen, or flounder without my help. Unless you change the beliefs that say the people you love are at risk, you will never extricate yourself from being responsible for them. I know this one firsthand. I dealt with it with both my sons, one to a greater degree than the other, because I saw him as literally going to die if I did not take responsibility for his life. Literally. There was no champion whatsoever in his life. He had teachers who actually quit the teaching profession because he was in their class. He was really a difficult child, and I thought I was the only thing keeping him alive. And, if a mother thinks that, really believes that, there's nothing that's going to happen unless she changes that belief to ever extricate herself from that mess. So if you believe somebody's, really at risk without your help, without you taking responsibility, whatever the belief is, that's not going to change unless you go in and change that belief. It's a belief. I changed it, and oh my God, I found what he was really capable of, which was far, far, far more than I had been giving him credit for. Another belief you might have, I must sacrifice myself in order to be loved. Sounds a little bit like martyr. It is. But look at what she might be looking for. The only way I can be loved is by putting myself at risk. If I stop taking responsibility for their lives, will they love me? Will they love me? Well, maybe not if she believes she's not good enough and doesn't deserve their love. To see how they get tied in together there? that core belief can keep these other beliefs wrapped around it and in this state of chaos and negativity. Another belief, I must martyr myself in order to show my love to others. So on one hand, she needs to martyr herself, and these may or may not be her beliefs, but they are a possibility given what she's written. On one hand, she must martyr herself in order to be loved. On the other hand, in order to show that she loves others or prove it. I take responsibility for those I love. It is unloving to allow people to take responsibility for their own lives. It is selfish to create my own success when others I love are unsuccessful. And there may be more, okay? I would bet my life on there are more. So, one by one, ferret those out and change them. How to work with it continued. Step 4, recognize it's not dependency you're dealing with. You are codependent. These people are dependent on you, and you are as dependent on them at this moment. Somebody has to get off the dance floor in order for this to unravel itself. And I bet you anything it's not going to be them. However, I've seen over and over and over again when someone like you, like I was when I was dealing with this, decides that, I'm going to, with love, extricate myself from this mess by giving back people I love responsibility for their own lives. And it starts with beliefs, folks. You won't know what action to take until you clear out the beliefs, because the beliefs are saying, oh no, I won't be loved. Oh no, they won't know they're loved. Oh no, they're going to die. And, you're going to keep yourself stuck in this until those get changed. Once those changed, you will see and feel the freedom to take the right action. Step 5, forgive yourself and forgive them. This is obviously something you came in here to learn, and probably they volunteered to help you with. You will be amazed when you start to take your power back and change these beliefs that others don't flounder, but actually do take responsibility for their lives and begin to flourish. Step 6, after, I repeat, after the beliefs have been changed, then dream a new dream where everyone in your life is empowered, free, prosperous, and successful. Okay. Sorry, I've got a runaway mouse on my hands. And step 7, practice being unconditionally loving with compassionate detachment for the rest of your life. The concept of compassionate detachment and unconditional love is something that I plan on spending a lot more time teaching. I think it is vital because I think most of us don't know the first thing about really how to love. When I was in this dark space with my own children, and I was really trying to figure out what to do when I was trying to be strong and trying to give them responsibility, but saw that they were headed in some really dark directions. I would be so overwrought and so confused and so unsure of what to do. I would go and I would sit with the goddess, and I would find myself in meditation in a safe place, and then being lifted and lifted and lifted and lifted until I was in the presence of the goddess. And I asked her, how do I love them? And she said to me, love them the way I have loved you. I see you making mistakes with your life. I see you headed down some paths that I know are going to end up in pain. But I don't step in. I respect you enough to allow you to learn what you came here to learn in the way you came here to learn it. I believe in you, and I believe in your power and your ability to do and create whatever you wanted. I may be sad, I may cry when you choose pain, but I let you choose it. And I'm always here to help when you call upon me. And that's how I decided to love my children. It took a while after that before I actually got good at it, but the amazing thing is they have shifted and changed into people that I never dreamed possible back then they could become. Okay, we are going to be opening up now to your questions that you want me to answer live. Okay, so go right ahead and ask your question. I'll take this break, take a sip of water. The question can be on technique that we talked about today or anything beyond that as well. So go ahead and type in the question that you would like answered. And if there's no questions, that's okay. We've gone over time for the beginning of it anyway, and we can quit early if you like. It's up to you. I wish we could see whether people were typing in questions or not. You know how you can on your iPhone, where you see people typing. It would be handy. But generally it takes a while for people to formulate their question and get it typed in. So we'll give it a couple minutes here. Okay. Somebody says, I'm typing a question. So, okay, I'll wait. It won't go away. We have another beautiful day in Boulder, Colorado. High 80, sunny, blue skies. You never know that last week there was snow. Okay. Somebody asks, I am waiting to receive an acceptance letter for a job I really, really want. On one hand, I can picture myself there already, joyously feeling the experience. On the other, I feel the fear of not being accepted, of being rejected. I think this comes from my parents' experiences. What technique should I use? I would say the technique that I would use is Jump the Gap, which is one that I wrote about in last week's newsletter. It's on the website under Live a Life You Love, and then hit Techniques at the top bar, and go forward to a month from now or the day that you learn that you have been accepted for the job, that you got the job. And I would just go to that you and enter her body and feel the happiness and the joy, and pick up the phone and call whomever you call. Maybe you're on the Live a Life You Love website and you're putting an Inspire page. I wanted this job and I did Jump the Gap technique and I got it. Or you might be writing in your success journal. I would absolutely use that one, and I would also use the 1-minute manifester and see yourself after you pick up the phone and they say, we'd love to have you work for us, or open the letter, however you think it's going to happen, and see you grinning from ear to ear. And during that 23 seconds that you're doing the manifestor technique, just see that grin on your face and knowing you got the job and knowing how excited you are and knowing how much fun it's going to be and knowing how you created it consciously. Just feel that joy and excitement. So I would do both of those, actually, if I were you. And I would also hold the thought, whenever you have any fear come up, that I intend to create this job or something better. And if I don't get this job, that means it's something even more exciting, more fun, more creative, more prosperous, more abundant, that pays better, that has better hours, that has better everything, is right around the corner for me. So I would combine the three of those techniques. Have fun sending energy for that success. Another question. When you do a technique, do you get a sense of yes or no when you are doing it? Or have you done it enough that you know? I'm assuming that you're asking yes or no whether you're receiving, whether I'll be receiving the thing that I want. Maybe you could let me know about that, because I'm not quite sure. I think that's what you mean is, am I receiving? Yes or no, will I get it? I always know I'll get that or better. I, again, don't get stuck in what it looks like. If I want something, I know darn well that if I don't get it, it's because something even better is on its way to me. And I hold that knowing no matter what. If something happens that doesn't look good, I say, wow, this must really going to be manifest in a way I haven't even expected, because I thought that was part of it, but that it's not makes me believe that something really wild is going to happen now, and it's going to be so much better than that I thought was going to happen. So I always assume that I will get what I want. And again, not the way it looks, but the way it will make me feel. And I always do. That's what happens when you keep doing the belief work. Again, the universe always delivers, and when you don't have beliefs that are in opposition to what you want, and I've cleared out scads of them, I still do belief work because I'm creating bigger dreams, and so I have more beliefs pop up to be changed, but I know that if I do my work, I will get the reward, period. There's no fine print, there's no exception. I know it, and you will too. Keep it up. Another question, can I send some of my beliefs that I don't know how to word them? You can, and I will help you with at least one or two of them. I can't do hundreds and hundreds of beliefs. I have to kind of draw the line somewhere, but you can send one or two. And next question, I love how you say you need to do the work. That is one of the things that has always puzzled me. Most people I know would say, I'll leave it in God's hands. I always think to myself, he isn't going to do it. He may guide you, but you have to do the work. Absolutely. Absolutely. If we were just going to let God do it, we wouldn't come to this planet. We would have stayed with God way back when. I mean, we came here because we wanted to separate ourselves from God and then reunite with God within us, the power within us, and create our own success, our own reality. And it's with his blessing, it's with his guidance, and it's with his love and support, and it's with his help when we ask. But to just turn it over to God, whoops, wow, that was something fell in the other room. That was an exclamation point. Doesn't empower us. So absolutely, you have to do the work, you have to take responsibility, and then when you empower yourself, you can turn to God for co-creation as an empowered being, but not until then. So yeah, thanks, glad you feel the same way, I agree. Somebody says, thank you, who asked the question, and I'm glad that it helped you. You're welcome. Another question, more about the feel of the technique. Is it light feeling, or when it's not what you really want, do you feel more joyful? Oh, okay, I see. So this person who asked about the yes or no is asking about the feeling feedback about whether you want it or not. it's true that you're not going to get a lot of great feelings around something you don't really want. So I would say, go back to the drawing board and get clear about how you want to feel, because you don't need to know what it looks like. You only need to know what you want it to feel like. So is it a house you want to create? Imagine sitting in the house and it feels glorious. It feels like home. It feels like bliss. It feels like it supports you, like it loves you. It feels like it has everything you need to be totally organized. And it feels like it has cozy spaces, and it feels totally affordable, and it feels totally beautiful, and it feels like it has this lightness and this earth love underneath it, okay? If it's a person you want, you don't, if there are two guys or two girls, you don't think about having one or the other. You think about being in a relationship and feeling totally committed and totally loved and totally honored and totally cherished and totally, being truthful and totally intimate. And you see, that's why you don't look for specifics, because oftentimes we don't know what the specific is. But we do know how we want to feel, and we put forth those feelings. The opportunity to feel that way will come forth, and we will know which action to take. In other words, which guy to choose, which girl to choose, which house to choose, where to look for the next job, whatever it is, to find the right people. You will know, will be inspired to act because you have put forth the energy in such a strong, positive way. So I hope that helps. And she also goes on to say, when it's not what you really want, you feel the block immediately. Again, I don't go at it that way. I don't try to, right now, remember when I just gave you the idea, the example about the map getting on the New York Times bestseller list? Again, do I really care that it gets on the New York Times bestseller list? Not really. I want it to have impact. I want it to change people's lives. I want to have fun doing what I do and put forth something that will help people. I don't care how that happens. I really don't. I don't care that I ever meet Oprah or not. I would like to. It would be fun to, I think, but maybe not. Maybe she's not that much fun. I don't know, and I don't care. What I do care about is I care that the planet changes, and I do what I can to help that happen. I know I have a gift to explain this stuff in a way that helps people. And so I care that the work gets out there to the people who are ready to change. I really don't care beyond that. And so what I would do is I would sit down and I would do a technique that is me a year from now. And I would do maybe like the 1-minute manifester, and I would see me smiling in a way that she feels like she has nailed it. She has followed her intuition to take the right actions to get the map and other books that may be out there then to exactly the hands they need to be in. And she feels triumphant. And she just feels like she followed her heart and her mind and her intuition, and it's all going as beautifully as it could be going. So I don't, think about, is this or that the way to go? I put out the end result. I jump the gap to where I want to be, and I do that as a technique. You might be asking, how do I know when to act? How do I know when to call this agent as opposed to that agent? And if that's what you're asking, we will talk a lot about that next week when we talk about action. Okay? So if you have some more specifics, please email them to Gwen. Somebody else asks, Bonnie, I had an astrology reading and they told me that I was going to go through a transit this year and that was good change in my life all the way around. On this reading they said that I was going to win a large sum of money. So what kind of technique can I do for this? Well, I would say, I'm going to go back to what I just said and I keep saying, I would not do a technique to win a large amount of money. I have been there. I have done that. I have believed psychics and others, and what they're seeing is a possibility, okay? It is a possibility, but you still need to take responsibility for that abundance. If you don't, what you are doing is putting your power into the astrologer's hands, and you are asking them to create your reality for you. And you're waiting for his or her prediction to come true. Instead of saying, and I've done that over and over again, not now, but years ago, especially when I found myself in that place of dire straits with everything, having gone wrong. You don't want your power in anyone else's hands. If you're going through a transit this year and it's going to change your life around, it's because you're ready to change it and you take responsibility, you take those reins and you're changing it. Okay? Don't give your power to anyone else. I mean, I consult astrologers and psychics on occasion, well, not psychics, but channel beings who say, this or that's going on with you, and I still choose and decide what I want my life to be like. Sometimes I take it as, oh, well, here's an opportunity, and oh, well, here's a place where I might want to be more clear or determined or patient or whatever it is. But I no longer give my power away to anyone to create it for me, except for me. So I would say, take this as a good sign that yes, changes are on the way because you are making the changes, and then see yourself, just like I just explained, a year from now, being totally in your power, totally abundant, totally happy, and who knows and who cares how the abundance came in. You just see it coming in and you being filled with the security and the safety and the joy and the freedom of having it. Okay, so I hope that helped. All right, I don't see any more questions, and we are just about at the end of our time anyway. If anyone has some more questions, please email them to Gwen. Our next session is Thursday, October 10th. And again, thank you everyone for allowing me the opportunity to work with you. It has been a great deal of joy. I have expanded and grown in exponential ways since we started this webinar. I've had a lot of fun, and I thank you for your honesty, your questions, and your emotional vulnerability. So I will see you Thursday. Have a great couple of days.